You want me to take the roll call, Chairman?
Yes, sir. Have the roll call run by staff.
Okay. Here. There it is. Okay, Chairman Deanda,
Here.
Vice Chairman Reynolds,
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Bettis,
Here.
Director Cantu, Director Moxley, Director Reyna,
Here.
and Director
Moxley.
Okay. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Go do the invocation.
Heavenly Father, we ask for your blessing on this meeting. Help us to share ideas and plans with one another. May your goodness and eternal love be present amongst us today. May we be filled with the fullness of God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Let's go ahead and call the order of the workshop. So, I'd ask you to open the workshop, please.
Yes, sir. Chairman, Directors, item number 1 on the workshop is a review of the proposed fiscal year 2021, operating and capital budget. So in your package, you have an executive summary from the Chief Financial Officer, Jose Castillo, detailing the budget. But basically, the proposed budget is broken up into 4 departments. Administration comprises of $1.2 million. The construction department is comprised of $843,000 worth of expenses. Program management is $694,000, and then right-of-way operations is $4,000. We have 17 budget positions. We're currently staffed at 8. The remaining positions are positions for the proposed the project. The total compensation for administration is $726,000, for construction is $700,000, and for program management is $174,000.
Okay.
We do have one major capital expense programmed in the budget, Chairman, and that is the addition of a backup generator for the facility. During Hurricane Hannah in July of this year, we were without power for about 5 days at this facility due to the hurricane, and so we were luckily 2 of those days were during the weekend, and then the remaining 3 days were during the work week. So we had 3 days that we could not operate the facility. That is proposed in the amount of $50,000 to add a backup generator here at the facility so that we can have a continuity of government and be operational in the event that power goes down, and we did experience that this fiscal year. So that's probably the major expenditure that we have proposed in the budget.
Is it going to be diesel or is it going to be natural gas?
Natural gas, sir. We're fortunate enough that we have natural gas at this facility, so we're gonna go natural gas so that we don't have to worry about diesel fuel and treating it, and so natural gas line runs right at the rear of the building where we're supposed to install the generator.
Okay. Does it require city approval for the getting the generator? Do you know?
Yes, sir. We'll have to get a building permit for it, but that's the only permit that will be required to obtain.
Okay. Any questions on the proposed budget?
Okay, you do have an action item on the regular agenda to adopt the budget. So this is just review.
I just want to make sure there were no questions about the budget. Okay.
Okay.
Now I'll take in the motion to adjourn the workshop.
So move.
A motion, can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. We have the quorum established for our meeting. We have any public comments? Pilar, anybody signed up for public comments?
Chairman, we do not have anyone signed up for public comment.
Okay, if not, let's go to reports with Eric Davila.
Okay. Chairman, if we could, Eric's on the phone with Director Pandu. I think he's having technical issues, so we're trying to help him. If we could go over to item 1B, report on 365 tollway project financing activities. We've got Richard Rodriguez on the line to give a report to the board. Richard?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and board members. Just wanted to give you a brief update. We received on Friday the new numbers from the traffic and revenue consultant, and it looks like the numbers are a little bit better than the last time. I don't know if you recall, last month we provided TxDOT various analysis of the project in terms of the feasibility and so forth, and the coverages look pretty good. And I think that based on this new TNR, we still believe that this financing is doable. Rates are cooperating. They've held in. Actually, they've turned it down since for the last month or so. So from our standpoint, we were just really waiting on the process for the bid and the contract and so forth to do the financing. But I think from our standpoint, we are set to go based on these numbers and the market at this point.
And you think we're going to get less than what was originally bid?
On the bidding, I leave that up to the staff and the engineers in terms of the bids. We're really not involved with that, but if we get the same bid or close to thereof, based on what we've been using, what Eric and the staff have given us, then it's financeable. And maybe I'll let Pilar comment on the bid part of it.
Chairman, so one of the advantages of going into this project is that we actually have some fairly large contractors working in the area. We have the Polis Dragos partnership working on the interchange, so we suspect they will be bidding on the project. They're mobilized here. There's a couple of other Columbia Anderson, and there might be another large contractor in the area, which we think will provide for some competition, some healthy competition. And because they're mobilized already for significantly large projects, we're hoping to realize some savings in the project because they're already working in the area.
I think that'll be good. And we had talked about it, trying to let the project as soon as possible. So, trying to speed up the entire process. And then we're working on that, right? So,
right.
Maybe by the next meeting, we can get a timeline of what we think we can do. So we'll see where we're at.
Yes, sir. Eric Davila and Mr. Ramirez are working together to try to get that timeline distilled. Eric's got a pretty good timeline. I know it probably needs some tweaks based on some data that needs to be exchanged from the TNR study and from the engineering side over to the finance side of it, so we can ratchet down that schedule a little bit more. But yes, sir, at the next board meeting, we'll definitely provide you with a schedule.
Okay. Any questions?
Sure. Okay, Chairman, Eric's back in the room, so he can give a report on the 365 tollway project and IDPC environmental plan.
Good afternoon. Slide number 6, speaking of schedule, shows the 365 tollway schedule as we know at this time. We have essentially crossed the threshold on TxDOT having initiated and done their approval of the 2021 UTP update. That allows for essentially the project finance, which Richard just covered right now, plan to be able to move forward. And so, speaking to that, we've also engaged HDR as our GDC. So they're getting ramped up on all things having to do with the project, drainage, utility costs, toll integrator support. It's an item that we have on the agenda today, for instance, as well as contract letting support for the highway contract. So that will include them taking a deep dive into the cost estimate and provide, a final concurrence check. And like Pilata mentioned, perhaps cost savings that might be achieved in this environment. So as the schedule, we're anticipating that the commission would read the systems agreement package, which would provide the gap funding for the 365 Tollway project. We have that projected in January, February. We're pending confirmation on that at this time, so that may slide till February, March. But the schedule should overall overlap and allow us to move forward in April, barring any other changes. So we're waiting on some concurrence to the schedule from TxDOT as well. And once we get all that by the end of this year, we'll provide that in our presentation to you all next month. Any questions?
No questions.
No, hearing none, thank y'all.
And Chairman, I just want to add one more comment to that. If Eric hasn't mentioned it, or Chairman, you haven't announced that on Thursday, last week, the Texas Transportation Commission approved our gap funding for the 365 Tollway project and the amount of approximately $27 million. So this was the gap funding that we needed to make the project financeable. And based on that is the schedule that you're asking for, so that we can hopefully let this project in the spring of 2021, excuse me, and get it out to bid. So.
We haven't anticipated debt on the project.
Yes, sir. We still have more debt issuance. If I recall correctly, it's to the tune of $100 million, Richard, or $140 million.
It's closer to 150 million at this point.
Yes, sir. So those will be the toll revenue bonds, Chairman and board members. That's the part that will be financed based on the traffic and revenue study.
Great. Okay. Consent agenda.
Yes, sir. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the governing body and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. However, if discussion is desired, that item or item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Can I get a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion, get a second. All in favor, say aye. So approved. Regular agenda item 3A, resolution 2020-34, adoption of the fiscal year 2021 operating and capital budget for the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority.
Yes, sir. This is the action to adopt the budget that we discussed in workshop. The proposed budget is for the Regional Mobility Authority is proposed at $2.7 million. Staff is recommending approval.
Are there any discussions? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved. So good, Mark.
Forrest, did you have a question or was that a motion?
No, I have a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Somebody made a motion. I couldn't.
Second. It was
Moxley.
Moxie made a motion. Rick seconded. Is there any other questions? If not, I'll ask for approval. All approved by signifying, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resolution 2020-35, approval of supplemental 1 to work authorization number 2 to the professional service agreement with HDR for general engineering consulting services to the 365 roadway construction contract letting support.
Chairman, Directors, this item is, now that we've received news that we're going to let the project, this is basically for HDR to provide support to get the project packaged and out and advertised, answer any requests for information, and just provide bidding support for an estimated $255 million construction project. The amount of the supplemental to work authorization number one is $93,284.63. Staff recommends approval.
Are there any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Forrest, can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Zeke, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resolution 2020-36, approval of work authorization number 3, the professional service agreement with the general engineering consulting services for the 365 toll integration contract letting support.
Yes, sir. So we have a separate project that we need to bid out, Chairman, Directors, and that is the toll integrator. So that's the hardware and software side of the project that places the vehicle readers, license plate readers, the vehicle detectors, brings all that information back to a centralized office and is processed as a vehicle and a transaction to generate a toll. So if you recall, this portion of it was designed back in 2015, 2016. So the design is about 5 years old. And so technology has changed in the last 4 years. And so this work authorization is for HDR to go in there and make sure that the project, this technology portion of the project is up to the current standards, the technology that's out there, and we're not using obsolete technology. One of the challenges we have with technology is it's constantly changing. So we're dealing with technology that was designed 5 years ago, and so we want to make sure that it's current and doesn't cause us any issues. The work authorization is in the amount of $299,785.36. The staff is recommending approval. I will note to the board that when the original design was, we paid approximately $1.2 million to have it originally designed. So HDR is going to take that design and update the elements that need to be updated for the current standard so that we can get it back out on the street.
Are there any other questions? I'd entertain a motion for approval. Entertain a motion for approval.
Pilar, this is Forrest.
Yes, sir.
Quick question. What is piece of the work worth as far as the tolling equipment and what is that? What's it?
So the hardware,
Yeah,
yes, sir. The hardware and software, we estimate, our last estimate was that it was approximately $6 million. And then the maintenance portion of that, which there's a maintenance component, was another $3 million. So in total for $10 million is the estimate for the work.
So we're just updating to make sure that there's nothing better out on the horizon. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And we know that things have changed in the last 5 years, and so we don't want to bid out technology that will probably end up not being supported in a short period of time because it's become obsolete. So we want to make sure that doesn't happen, and that's pretty much a challenge for any agency is you get technology and then in a couple of years it's obsolete and you're looking at a revision. So we know because it's been 5 years since it was designed, we know that there's probably some obsolete components in it.
Hey, Pilar, this is Rick. Are they going to be looking at one inner or in and out connection? I mean, the $300,000 to just one or just the whole? What is it exactly going to be? What?
So there's several components to this, Director. To answer your question, there's the hardware that goes out in the field, which are the vehicle detectors and the license plate readers. And then there's the connectivity from the hardware to the back office. And then there's the software component of that that makes the cameras and the vehicle detectors and makes them integrate with the transaction portion of it, what generates the bills and bills the drivers for the toll. And so it's making that all work.
So this money is to buy equipment or just to check equipment?
It's
Validate.
yeah, we have a design already, Director, and this is but our design is 5 years old already. It's approximately 5 years old, and so there's a lot of technology in that design because it's toll components, it's software, it's hardware. So we want to make sure that that 5-year-old design is not obsolete, and there's not a better mousetrap, for lack of a better word, that we can be using. And then we don't want to end up bidding out 5-year-old technology that may be obsolete in a couple of years because it's no longer supported by a vendor because it's older technology.
But when I'm saying 300,000 just for a couple of guys to check.
So no, so actually what they're gonna do is they're gonna take the design, they're gonna check the entire design, they're gonna update it, and then HDR is gonna sign and seal it, and they will be the engineers of record for the toll integration now. So they'll be 100% responsible for the design.
Okay.
So that at each exit, to make sure that we're catching, right, the traffic that's going on or coming on or going off the toll.
Mhm.
So we can make sure that we're billing the appropriate parties.
Yeah,
I'm
correct.
assuming. So I think that's what it's called.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, there's a motion, a motion.
Again, motion from Rick. Can I get a second?
Second from Zeke.
Second from Zeke. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resolution 2020-37, approval of a contract amendment number 1 to the professional service agreement with HDR to increase the maximum payable amount due supplemental 1 to work authorization number 2 and work authorization number 3.
Chairman, Directors, this is just to increase the maximum payable amount for the last 2 items that you approved. Staff recommends approval.
So move.
Motion by Rick. Can I get a second?
I'll second this, Forrest.
Thanks, Forrest.
What
Got
did
a
we
second
do
from-
last? Didn't we increase?
Yes, sir.
Walk us through what-
Yes, sir, Director. So at the last time, so if you go back in history, originally, we awarded a contract to HDR approximately 3 years ago. And we approved that. That contract was in the amount of $488,657. That was the original work authorization number 1. Because the board canceled the project, basically terminated the agreement with Johnson Brothers. HDR did not do the work in the original work authorization and the original scope. And if you recall, a lot of it was going to be to implement a bunch of value engineering concepts that had been vetted and were going to be incorporated into the contract with Johnson Brothers to bring the price down into something that could be financed. Subsequently, that didn't happen. So the last board meeting, we rescoped the work to support this new bid. So they were going to go through and check the quantities. They were going to go through and make sure that our estimate was good and check all the estimates. And so that was what approved. The work authorization that was approved at the prior meeting didn't exceed it. Actually, it was about $60,000 less than the original amount of 488,000. So it was about $420,000 that was approved by the board last board meeting. So there's about a $61,000 credit from the original contract amount. Go fast forward to today, work authorization supplemental number 1 or supplemental number 1 to work authorization number 2 and work authorization number 3 require a net increase of $331,714.69. you'd back out the credit that we have from the original work authorization. So then that makes the new contract, $820,372.60. And that's why the math doesn't add up on your worksheet, because we didn't really show that we still had approximately $61,000 credit.
Copy, thanks.
Is there any other questions? I got a motion by Rick, a second by Pharr. Is that correct?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resolution 2020-38, approval of 6 months extension of professional service agreement with Hilltop Securities to provide financial advisory service to the Lago County RMA.
Chairman, Directors, in July of this year, the Board of Directors approved a 6-month extension to Hilltop Securities contract to provide financial advisory services. That will expire next month. With the approval of the gap funding and the ability for the authority to move forward with letting on the 365 tollway project, staff is recommending approval of another 6-month extension to their contract, which will take us through July of 2021. Staff recommends approval.
Is there any discussion? If not, I entertain a motion for approval.
So
So
move.
move.
Motion by Pharr, second by Rick. All of favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Chairman, we have no further business for the board's consideration.
Okay. I'd just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I know that's been a tough year for everybody. I'd just like to encourage you to continue to stay safe with your families and encourage you to wear your masks. And I'd like to tell you that on my behalf, I really appreciate all the work you guys did this past year. It's been a tough year, but I really appreciate all the work you did for the RMA. And on my behalf, Merry Christmas to you and your families. And Zeke, congratulations on your grandson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, boss. You're a good man. You be safe.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Motion by Rick, second by Forrest. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Holidays, guys. Everybody stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Directors, thank you.
Bye.
Stop recording. You have to go and stop recording first. Let them log out. Go to the burn room. Yeah. Oh, start. Should be right there. Right there, stop recording, yeah. Yeah. Good.
David, you still on?
Director Cantu, everybody already hung up?
Yeah, no, but I thought I heard David, but thank you. Bye.
Yes, sir. Okay. Then